This is the DTV Digest, the podcast that brings you news and reviews of films which didn't make it to the cinema. And now, here's your host, Mike Parkin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DTV Digest. I'm your host, Mike Parkin, and joining me tonight are Richard Hawes.
Hello, everybody.
And Stephen Lockridge.
Hello.
This week, we are covering Ankle Biters, Habit. Our short shot is Ghostbusters Southside, and our DTV Throwback is Flight 7500. That sound weird? Flight 7500. There you go. So let's crack on. Our first review then is Ankle Biters. Ex-hockey player Sean Chase is about to take the plunge and propose to his girlfriend Laura and become a stepdad to her 4 young daughters. However, when the children witness the pair having kinky sex, they believe their mum is being attacked and hatch a plan to kill Sean to protect her. Right, that's a mouthful. This is a sort of quirky. I didn't find a lot of comedy in this, really. I'd say it's a quirky horror. It has some sort of interesting ideas, but Rich, I'm going to throw this over to you because I think you were rather put off by the opening track for this film. Do you want to comment on that, and then we throw it over to Steve?
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't, not so much put off as sort of perplexed, and feeling that perhaps it was a pretty either. I see. I'm not sure whether they were trying to be provocative in that particular selection, or they were just really thoughtless, because the tune they use is Rock and Roll Part 2 by the Glitter Band. And the film does have a hockey theme, as you mentioned, that one of the central characters is a hockey player, and that tune is sort of tied up, with that sport. It's like an anthem tune that plays when somebody gets a goal and stuff like that. And but this is a film about 4 little girls, who fit the profile of one of the most notorious paedophiles in popular culture.
Twice convicted paedophile, Gary Better, it probably carries more weight here than it probably does in Canada, where the film was made, or but yeah, it kind of does sort of stick in the throat a bit. Here we have a film about sex, about girls and their misunderstanding of what sex is, and then this song by a notorious sex offender. And
then there's also the teenage sort of girl who refers to as like the jailbait.
Yeah.
So it's all tied together in a really uncomfortable way.
Yeah, and it's like, well, did they think this was funny in that regard? It's very strange. Anyway,
So Steve, did you pick up on that when you watched it?
Yeah, I mean, it was there. You couldn't miss it, really, could you? I know where you're coming from. I think it's a bit of both. I think they've used it because of the hockey thing, and I think, fuck it, we'll just chuck it in because of the connotations as well.
There must have been a conversation somewhere along the right.
Yeah, there's got to be. I mean, it was like when they used it in the Joker as well. It was the same kind of conversation, obviously on a hell of a bigger scale, not just us talking about it, but you know what I mean? Everyone was talking about it.
But at least in that case, it was, there weren't even any kids in that movie or anything. It was
exactly.
I mean, there's a flip side to that, in which case you could say if he is still getting royalties from this song.
No, he's not.
He's not. Okay. Well, if he was, he would have got a lot from Joker, but he's probably not going to get much from this. But no, he's not. Okay.
Apparently, I think the guitarist is the only one who's still getting royalties from him, from what I remember reading when Joker was out.
Well, that's the other thing. I kind of think, why should the rest of the band be penalised necessarily?
Yeah, exactly.
One person's done. So if the other guys get that's fair enough and stuff. But anyway, still unfortunate connotations.
Indeed. But onto the film itself, Steve. How did you find this one?
You know what? I actually really enjoyed this. I kind of wasn't expecting to, just for that first couple of minutes. Obviously, you've got your biggest bugbear, media res at the beginning, but I did enjoy it. The only thing, what got me is, I felt really sorry for the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because he's actually a really nice guy. He's friends with everybody.
When he's gouging people's eyes out.
Well, apart from that, but that's part of
the past. Stop hanging on to the
past.
past.
That's an anger issue. Yeah, exactly. That's an anger issues with the hockey, the ice hockey. Violence is a part of the game in this set, but yeah, he's just such a lovely guy. He's trying to do the best for his missus, and like everyone says, he's crazy for second on these 4 girls or whatever. And in a way, they are right, but not in the way they thought. Yeah. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was, really well shot. Some of the scenes on the lake are really, really beautiful, and it's one of them that doesn't try to outstretch its budget. That some kind of do it. It's not a massive budget, but everything they do is well in with it. And I thought the script was quite sharp. Even the girls sometimes, especially you get a group of kids, they can be quite annoying in films like that. But I thought that actually the girls are kind of sweet as well. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It is an interesting one. And that central idea of these prepubescent girls not knowing anything about sex at all, and being highly suspicious about this guy wanting to be their stepdad, and then making the discovery, and it doesn't kind of help that they're both into a bit of S&M, and so the sex is a bit rough, and they records it, and they watch the video, and it would look incredibly scary, it absolutely would. So they nail that totally right.
Well, it's more. It starts off, a bit more insidiously with the, noticing the bruises.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And she's sort of laughing it off.
But you can understand why they would be.
Exactly.
Perturbed.
Yeah.
But yes, so some, and again, it's like their thought processes that when the things happen to the babysitter, for example, it's like they don't think things through. They just do stuff. If you see what I mean. And fortune seems to sort of like is bestowed upon them. So they have a lot of luck, basically, in a lot of what happens.
But having said that, in a way, who'd believe them?
Well, exactly.
Believe that's
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, in fact, there is that bit, isn't there, when the sheriff turns up and he's sort of going, "Did Sean tell you to say that?" It's like, exactly. And unfortunately, the unfortunate series of events which befall Sean when he's looking for the babysitter sets him up as as a prime suspect straight away as well. It's just very, very well done. I have to admit. This was pretty smart overall, I think. Rich?
Yeah, I did like it a lot, actually. We've seen movies about killer kids before. There was a film called The Children a few years ago. There's, I think, like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things a long time ago. There's lots of variations. I watched the Macaulay Culkin one this weekend, The Good Son.
Good Son, yeah.
And so there's lots of variations. What's kind of different about this one is that innocence and naivety of the girl. They're not malicious. They're not like been overtaken by an evil force or anything. It's just kind of a circumstantial thing. It's the sort of kinky sex games thing angle is, I think, a really interesting one. I don't think I've seen a film sort of explore that. Not kinky sex, but like the children and the thing and the way it unfolds. I thought it was quite original in that respect.
Yeah.
So that had a lot going for it. The girls are not great actresses. That's it's not. It's with not Macaulay Culkin or anything, or Elijah Wood or anything. It's like it's very, it's a bit stilted, some of the stuff, and some, because they've got them doing some pretty nasty stuff, but they try to cover it up by just sort of using doubles or showing angles or whatever, so they're not actually being the ones holding a knife or whatever. And I think they cover that fairly reasonably well. There's some nice. Some really nice visual effects and moments and stuff that happen in it, sort of practical stuff. I mean, that bit where the girl gets kicked at the end, I was just like, whoa! I was just laughing. It was such a good moment. And I think the film's got a few of those. The hockey stuff that sort of sets up him as a violent character initially, that's all quite gross. But as you say, it's quite clever in that, he's not. He is an all right bloke, It's not. He might be into some stuff, and and a bit aggressive, in the workplace environment, on the ice and stuff. But
he kind of, he kind of reminded me of Ben Affleck in Gone Girl. He's this sort of guy who, through no real fault of his own, is ended up in this really shitty situation, and even though we kind of know that he's innocent, but at the same time, no one believes him at all. It's that's that sort of character. Quite liked it.
I don't know if you noticed the guy. I don't know if you noticed the one of the. I think he was like the head of the police, or something. I don't think he was the sheriff, but he was like keeper. But it was
Colin Mockery.
Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Yeah. So that was pretty cool, because I haven't really seen him acting.
He's
playing it really straight. It's not a comedic role really, although there's it's a dark comedy, so there's some dark, he's like looking at the pictures and go, oh, it's naughty, it's sorted, it's twisted, sort of thing. And there is comedy that comes out of his views on what's going on and stuff, but a lot of it's dark humor. I mean, the stuff with the apple and the pin and stuff is all pretty horrific.
I don't know. I didn't really sort of see too much of the humor in it, dark or otherwise. So I thought it was quirky more than anything else. There you go. The film ends.
Okay. Right. You're talking about the ending. Jump into the ending. Okay. So a guy writes a book, right? Within a month, it's published within a month.
Well, I kind of imagine that, for that sort of sensationalist thing, you have to hit the zeitgeist, don't you? So it's quite possible that there's some shady publisher ready to sort of like churn out a book as quickly as possible, ghost written and all the rest of it. I just the film ends with a title card saying there's going to be a sequel, which is bizarre. I'm thinking, how? I must admit that was the first thing.
I think that's a joke. I don't think
it could be a joke. Yeah.
Especially, what was it? Son of Cherry Picker.
Son of Cherry Picker. Yeah. But
the original title was Cherry Picker,
which is what I was going to say. So, do either of you understand why it was called Cherry Picker in the first place? Because I haven't a clue. I can't see where that comes into proceedings.
Well, at the beginning they mentioned it's the Cherry Picker murders, and I'm not sure if it's like the name of the town or the name of the.
No, it's not. It's not the name of the town. No. I'll be honest.
Is it another sort of way of saying jailbait? Maybe because it sort of centers around the babysitter. I don't know. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Strange.
I don't know. It's lost on me entirely. So I think the change to the title Ankle Biters, although
it fits better, and it makes it sound, it makes it sound like a horror comedy. But
I mean, there was already a horror comedy called Ankle Biters, I think, a few years ago.
That's right. Yeah, there was. Yeah.
But I mean, it's got that implied thing about kids, and there's biting, got that implication of sort of playful violence kind of thing. So I think that title does fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It plays down the sort of sordid angles, that's for sure. Okay. Any more on this one?
Just to say, I wasn't a fan of the score.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I think the climax and because it's quite a short film, if I recall correctly. I think the way it unfolds is all brilliant. I do think all the stuff with the babysitter kind of jumped the shark. I don't think that. I think it kind of went too far at that point. That it was just. I think they should have maintained the focus on the on the central characters and what was happening there. So sort of bringing an innocent victim sort of into it, and I know that sort of played into how things would unfold at the end, but I just thought that was. It didn't quite fit. It seemed a bit of a step too far. But I did really enjoy the way things, around the was it the it's like a sauna thing. The way that part happens. So yeah. So I did like it overall. I thought it was really good, really novel, really interesting.
Cool. Scores on the doors then, Steve.
I'm going to give it a 7.
And Rich.
Yeah, high 7 from me.
Yeah, I'm going to join you on a 7 as well. It's borderline 6, but a 7 for me. So that's 3 7s for Ankle Biters. Go check it out. Our next review is Habit. Mads, Addie, and Evie are 3 party girls who get mixed up in a drug deal gone bad. With a homicidal drug queen on their tail, the trio pretend to be nuns, sending Mads' fixation on Jesus into overdrive. I called Ankle Biters quirky. This is it's sort of quirky on a sort of punk rock kind of level.
Shite.
Is that what you reckon? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, please elucidate, Steve. Over to you.
I just didn't get on with this at all. It really annoyed me. It was kind of like, when Pulp Fiction came out and everyone tried writing scripts that were like Tarantino-esque and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of that. Just not good at all. I thought I like Bella Thorne. I thought she was quite good in it. Everybody else was dog shit. Gavin Rossdale, Jesus Christ. I'm not being funny. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of his music, but some of the tracks I like and push. But what is he doing in this? What? He's terrible. I've seen better acting off Keanu Reeves, Also, the other 2 girls I thought were awful. Like the scene where the money goes missing. Yeah. And I don't know, it's because they're supposed to be hungover or on a come down or whatever, but terrible. Is it Queenie?
Yeah.
The most annoying bastard character I've seen for a long while. And no, I just didn't go on with this at all. Even like the quirky flashbacks and showing the the knife throwing from like the 20s or whatever. Didn't get on with this at all. Thought it was terrible.
Very interesting. Rich, over to you.
Well, I didn't dislike it as much as Steve, but I didn't really like it. I wanted to, because I kind of like the sort of quirky sort of you're not sure when it's set, sort of timeless kind of feel that they were going for. I think it was supposed to be sort of 70s, 80s or something anyway. But it's all shot quite interestingly. It's, as Steve said, it's got that Tarantino thing going on, but it's kind of cross with John Waters. Kind of feels like a John Waters film quite a lot in certain respects. And yeah, Gavin Rossdale is I quite liked him, but yeah, he's it's not the best performance. I mean, he's not an actor, is he? So generally, so that was quite.
Well, again, that's the thing. I don't think any of them are really.
Well, I think the majority. I mean, we've got Ione Skye in there, and the Bella Thorne, obviously. I mean, so I'll put this in context. Before I watched this, I did like a Bella Thorne marathon. I watched like 4 other films of hers before watching this one, and this was one of the ones I liked the least. Unfortunately, I was sort of working up to it, and it just didn't pay off. Unfortunately, there was a couple of others that I watched with her, which was I'll tell you the films I watched. I watched one called Masquerade because, funnily enough, that came on Sky the same day actually, that I was going to watch these films. So it's Masquerade, which is very low budget, but it's got quite an interesting twist. There was one called Ride, which was pretty good. Bit of a Collateral kind of thing, that one, where she's a supporting character. There was Infamous, which is a Natural Born Killers-ish kind of thing, but where the emphasis is on her main character. So, you know, lovers on the run kind of thing, but you don't normally see it from a female character perspective. So I quite like that. Was really good, actually, very stylish. And there was a sort of post-apocalyptic sort of horror-ish kind of one called I Still See You, which I was very impressed by. And then I watched this, and it was kind of, you know, it's edgy, you know, there's lots of swearing, there's lots of, it's lots of blasphemy, obviously. And it just wasn't for me, unfortunately.
I've got notes. There's a lot of this I did kind of like. I like the aesthetic of it. I like the way it was shot. I like the way it was edited. There's one particular bit where when they go to this nightclub, and I really, really want to go to that nightclub. But the music was The Chauffeur by Duran Duran, which really sort of like, made me favor this film a little bit more. What took me out of the film is Queenie, because...
Is that Josie Ho?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I didn't mind the character as such. It's just this is where the script really fell down for me. And I mentioned this when we talked about that trilogy of British gangster films, you know, Original Gangster thing.
Yeah.
Where you've got, you know, it's like these bad guys, do they stand in front of a mirror and practice their monologues? It's like in order to be a bad guy, you have to have a monologue so you can appear even more scary, you know, where you're sort of talking about something which has nothing to do with what's actually happening at the moment. And then he's sort of like going to switch and sort of segue into the moment, you know. So she's going on about this thing about, oh, do you know this particular sort of scorpion wasp does this horrible shit to somebody, you know, and she's got it all memorized. It's like the most annoying thing. It's like all these drug dealers, do they have these, you know, and assassins and people, do they have these speeches prepared? And do they practice them so that when they have to deliver them, that, you know, they get the right cadence or the right nuance, sort of menace? And that's what really sort of threw me about this. It took me right out of the film. I was like, oh, here we go again, you know. And not only that, but her henchman, the guy dressed as a cowboy, not a proper cowboy, a Roy Rogers 1950s serial kind of cowboy.
But another English character.
Another English character, but it's like...
Yeah.
It's like...
But once again, not an actor, a musician. It's Kate Moss's husband.
But it's like...
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, this guy has made an informed decision to dress in this way. It's like, well, I'm a sort of like, you know, I'm an assassin kind of dude. I'm going to make sure that everyone knows exactly who I am because I'm going to dress like a dipshit, and everyone's going to be too scared to mention it. And it's like, well,
he kind of reminded me of, I know it's slightly different, but Stephen Burkoff in Steel.
Yes.
Where he's playing that exaggerated teddy boy kind of man character.
The southern accent, all that sort of shit.
Yeah,
it's like
an accent in that.
It's like, surely you know you're playing larger than life. You know, if you were really that person, you know, this killer or whatever, you know, you would know that you're playing a role, this sort of flamboyant sort of thing, and it just doesn't feel real at all. You know, and that sort of pushes it into the, you know, beyond Tarantino. I think Tarantino knows where to take it, where the line is to take it up to.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean about the sort of the John Waters thing, because this is like cartoonish exaggeration.
Yeah.
Very exaggerated, sort of fantastical. I mean, the nuns would get, when they're dressed as nuns and they're out collecting or whatever, they would get, identified as con artists in like 5 seconds.
Absolutely.
They're like saying really inappropriate things and wearing, they've got these like really obvious like trainers and stuff on, and then they're going to meet
knee-high boots.
None of it would fly in real life at all. It's just it's complete sort of flight fancy,
Yeah. So there's bits of this I did like. I didn't mind all this sort of the black and white footage and stuff. I like the way it spliced into her sort of dream state and things. I even like Jesus turning up.
Played by Michael Jackson's daughter, apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
Paris Jackson.
Interesting. So there's definitely things to like here, but from a script writing point of view, I think it's like it's back to the drawing board for a lot of it. I think that there's some interesting things with the characters. I mean, of all the stupid things to do, going to that club when you know that Queenie's after you. I mean, how stupid is that? Really, is a complete plot contrivance. We're wanted people from. Let's go to the one place everyone knows we go to. It's stupid. But there you go.
They are supposed to be pretty foolish, sort of stupid characters, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, thick as shit.
Yeah, I did like Bella Thorne in this. I thought she was pretty cool. So it's a bit of a mixed bag for me. It gets points for using Duran Duran and for using the black and white footage. I liked all that. But yeah, let's stop giving bloody bad guys monologues to spout off. And I keep thinking, oh, this is Tarantino's fault, but then it's not, because when he did True Romance, it wasn't Christopher Walken's character giving the monologue. It was, what's his face?
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. Yeah, Dennis Hopper's the one who gives the bloody monologue, and thanks for it. But it's an annoying thing. Stop doing it, people. Basically. And another thing, right? This is just something I was thinking of earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever been? This is a genuine question. Has there ever been a film in which a drug deal goes right? No cops, no one trying to double cross anyone, just an exchange of drugs for money, and off we go.
Reservoir Dogs?
No. Tim Roth talks about, Mr. Orange talks about a time when he was carrying drugs and bumped into a bunch of cops, but not an actual drug deal as such.
Let me ponder that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd love to know. And in fact, I think it would make a brilliant short film if you just filmed, this a sort of drug deal, and you can make it all tense because you think something's going to happen, but then just let it play out and everyone just drives away at the end. But there you go. That's my idea, folks. Come see me. But there you go. Scores on the doors then for Habit. Over to you, Steve.
4.
4. And Rich?
Yeah. I'm gonna go 5.
And I'm going 6. So there you go. A flawed film, but visually stunning, I think. So definitely check it out. A 4, a 5, and a 6 for Habit. Go check it out. Our short shot this week is Ghostbusters Southside. In southern Los Angeles, a local branch of Ghostbusters are suddenly called into action. So we're into fan film territory here, Rich. Yeah, not fan fiction. Mm-hmm. That's something completely entirely different. But yes, Ghostbusters Southside. I thought this was very, very good indeed. Steve, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, I enjoyed it actually. It was well done. I thought the props and the effects were really well done. I just wish it could have been a bit longer, to be fair. I just didn't think we got a good grasp of all the characters, if you know what I mean. And I thought the ending was a bit abrupt as well. But all in all, it was really good. I enjoyed this.
I totally agree. Rich?
Yeah, I think that sort of the ending is probably my main gripe, in that I think it feels more like a pilot, sort of set up than there's no satisfying resolution, because there's all this build up, all this sort of world building that takes place at the start of setting up, why things are starting to happen. There's a ritual taking place at the start of the film and everything, and none of that really pays off at the end. Something starts to happen, and then it kind of it doesn't get really resolved, but it sort of get nipped in the bud and left open with kind of I think it's really good. The as you say, the props, the attention to detail and all the props and everything is great. There's a bit where unfortunately they don't get out there, they use the proton packs and stuff at the end of the film, but there is a point where they go to there's a misunderstanding thing, a bit like there's lots of callbacks to the original film, and they do this bit where they accidentally fire the streams in the alley. And the visual effects are spot on. They look exactly like to me, they looked exactly like they did in the original, which I thought was really good. They've got their own Ecto. I think it's Ecto 13. Yeah, and it's like it's a perfect replica. There's lots of enthusiasts out there who collect and restore and create these vehicles and that. So obviously that's where they've kind of got that from. But and all the other stuff as well, really great. And lots of little touches. The way it's shot and the cinematography and the editing, they got the establishing shots and that, and they show like a thing on the shelf saying that this was the local branch that was established on like a plaque established on such and such a date. Yeah. There's another bit where they show like a picture of the old Ghostbusters and whatever. So this is set in a world where it's been franchised basically, which was kind of always the route that the original concept would have gone, really. In that it's kind of a working class not rent a ghost it's like a rent a kill kind of thing. It's just like we've got a problem, we got to see but there's nothing happening. So these guys he's really, the guy who's leading them is kind of really enthusiastic, but there's nothing's been happening for like 16 months and they really want something to happen, and so they're just kind of hanging out. And the other aspect of it that's really interesting is that it's an entirely ethnic cast, which is really, because considering that in the first one, it's Winston Zeddemore, the sort of marginalized, sort of unfortunately token black member of the cast, and so he never really felt part of the main team. It's kind of like he was there, but not for like the bigger scenes and stuff. So it was all about the three white characters. And this one, we've got.
One token white guy, haven't we?
Well, is there even a white guy in the cast?
Yeah, the large one, the guy with the weird hair.
Yeah, but he's Hispanic, isn't he?
Okay,
that's how I took him as Hispanic.
I just took him as the token white guy.
All right. Yeah, because and so we got the two main characters are the Harrell brothers, who kind of instigated the project. They're not the directors, but they did write and produce it. Directed by Patrick Lawrence, and and there's a couple of female characters. One of them's Asian, and or both. I can't remember, but anyway, it's an entirely ethnic cast, which I thought was really interesting, and you don't really pick up on it. It's such a natural thing. I mean, I know it's set in the sort of south side of Los Angeles and stuff, so that's where it's kind of a different the community is much more mixed, but still I thought it worked really well. I'd love to see a longer version. I'd love to see a series, or however they like to take it, because it felt really natural. It felt a really good fit. And anyone who's interested in Ghostbusters and is going to go and see Ghostbusters Afterlife and that this is coming out around the time that you'll probably be hearing this, should definitely look this up. I think
I totally agree. The aesthetic of this is perfect. The production values for, as you say, the props and everything, even the music at the beginning, they do a very good approximation of, not just the actual sort of theme, but other bits as well, for the establishing shots and things.
Well, I think a lot of the music is taken from Elmer Bernstein's score. There might be some, additions and that they've played with, but I'm pretty sure they've just cribbed it,
Possibly.
Just,
I mean, it because that opening theme when it sort of goes to the church and stuff, that sound, it was the music for the the brownstone building in the first film, but it sounded a little bit different, as if it was sort of somebody redoing it. But
I think it was used in the very opening, with the library scene, and that's kind of what they were nodding to there.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But yeah, I thought this was really cool. I'm really glad they didn't go with Slimer in this. They came up with their own apparition to work with, but at the same time, it fit with what we've seen before. It fit the mold. So yeah, I thought this worked really well, and I was so annoyed when it finished.
Yeah, well, so was I.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, come on, I
guys.
just wanted a bit of resolution. But did you notice how the way it was shot? There was a lot of sort of dark. It was a lot of it was dark, and there was reds and greens.
There was, and I was going to mention the cinematography because there's a scene where two of the characters are walking down the stairs into the basement, and it's lit from behind. So all you can see is their silhouette with a sort of a light halo behind them, and it looks absolutely superb. So hats off to the cinematographer for this one. Any more, guys?
No, not really. No, apart from say the actor we were saying you thought was a token white guy. His name is Aris Alvarado. So I think
perfectly normal white name. Yep.
Sorry, just sort of touch on the score. So I think the score itself brings a lot of production value, as well as things like incorporating the replica. I mean, that scene where the Ecto-13 comes out. Yeah, it's just so perfectly played. I mean, it looks great, and then you kind of got the reveal shots and everything. Everything's so well timed, and it's a labour of love and a good quality and a very, very good one.
Yeah, definitely. So we don't score the shorts as usual, but we will put the link into the footnotes, and we really, really recommend that you check this out. That's Ghostbusters Southside. Click the link. Our DTV throwback this week is Flight 7500. The passengers on board Flight 7500 to Tokyo find themselves beset by spooky goings-on when one of the passengers mysteriously dies. So earlier today I tweeted that I'm feeling another rant about in media res building, and I must admit I'd forgotten that Ankle Biters starts that way, but this did annoy me. And it needn't have had, basically, because we get this in media res sort of showing one of the sort of kind of scary / exciting scenes from the film. But what played just before that would have been a perfect in media res, as far as I'm concerned, because you get the air traffic control map kind of thing, sort of showing the airplanes, and then you get the sort of the audio from the tower talking to the plane. And that would have been really creepy on its own. And if it had gone from that straight into the film, I'd have been quite happy. But no. We have to show something exciting, because we know that the next 14 minutes are going to be establishing the characters. But there you go. Rich, over to you for your initial thoughts.
I have seen this before, but this has never been, until recently, as far as I know, it's never had a proper UK release. It's quite an old. I say old. It's from initially it was released in America, I think in 2014, but I think it was shot in 2012, and it just got basically buried and unreleased, and that's really surprising because it's directed by a very well-known director, Takashi Shimizu, most famous for the
Grudge series.
Yep, and it's got a hell of a cast. I mean, even if you just sort of look at the surface, we've got Ryan Kwanten,
favorite of mine.
Scout Taylor Compton, who's was in like Halloween and stuff, doing really well. Amy Smart, Jerry Ferrera, who was big in Entourage at the time, I think.
Is he the Dick surfer dude?
No, the Entourage guy is the guy who's married, who's just got married to the Nicky Whelan's character. Who's sort of the snobby. I mean, I really liked all the character stuff in this. There's a lot of establishing the characters and getting developing their stories and stuff before things really kick off, and I think that all really works well. Where it falls down is that the film's very short. It's about an hour and 15 minutes before the credits kick in, and it feels really rushed. Like the second half, sort of when the horror stuff sort of kicks in, it's like, I don't know, they cut stuff out or something, but it all happens too quickly. You're not quite sure what's happening, and then it all gets a bit lost, and then it suddenly sort of ends, and then it goes, oh, actually, we've got to put like a jump scare at the end. So they kind of tack something on at the end, and so it doesn't really feel that satisfying, but it is it's well cast, nicely shot. It does feature probably the cheapest looking stock footage of a plane taking off that I would have expected to see in a what seems to be a reasonably budgeted film like this. It reminded me a bit of some of the better sort of on board kind of film. I mean, Nicky Whelan's in this, and she was in Left Behind, and this is a lot better than Left Behind. But there was that other film, what was it called? Had that funny name. Do you remember? It was all set on the plane, and there was they thought the world was ending outside. Chariot. Yeah, I can't remember what the UK title. I think it was like The Final Flight or something like that. But,
that sounds about right.
But I got a little bit of a vibe of that. But imagine like a film like that, but with like a really strong cast of loads of people you recognise from different TV shows and stuff. You got Leslie Bibb, Jamie Chung, Jonathan Shakes, the pilot. It's quite great, and it's just a shame it kind of doesn't hold together.
Yeah, I agree. There are some nice beats to this. As you say, some of the character stuff is pretty good. I absolutely hated that surfer guy. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he meant to. He is the heel, basically, isn't he? In this,
Is he the guy with the guy who steals the watch?
Yeah, the guy who steals the watch. He's got a bag full of stolen phones and all this sort of shit. Because surfing ain't free, man. It's all this sort of shit. But some of the characters that are established just disappear in the film. You never really sort of get to see what happens to them. There's one bit where they literally walk into the cockpit and find what's happened to the pilots. It's like, okay, and just wander off again. No attempt to sort of try and reach anyone or anything like that, or wake them up. It's just like shrug the shoulders. Don't know what to do now. But yeah, there are some nice little bits. I think that they made the mistake in a couple of places of trying to copy that sort of feel of The Grudge. By saying copy, I mean slavishly, copy the ideas. Hands reaching out of suitcases and that sort of thing. It's like it just doesn't work in this kind of film because you haven't done anything to set it up properly.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They kind of set up a couple of, they introduced like the doll thing, but then ultimately what happens is like,
it turns
is that
out
a red herring? Is it really that? Is it something else? I'm not really sure. Exactly. I've seen it twice now, and still I'm not entirely. I still get lost in that second act. It's that second half of the film. It just doesn't. I mean, there are some really some really good stuff, really nicely shot. Some great sort of tense scenes and stuff. The guy, the bit where the guy just starts, I don't know, he's having like it seems like he's having a heart attack or something, but it's like much worse and stuff. That's a really good scene, and all the stuff with hiding his body, and that
was quite good as well, because you hear his like phone call before they take off, and he does sound like a nasty piece of work. You think, oh my god, what the hell's this guy up to? Talking about gouging somebody's eyes out or something. So it's very bizarre. But yeah, the cast is pretty likable overall. I'm a fan of Ryan Kwanten, as you know. So that was quite a nice surprise seeing him turn up in this. I was shocked to find out, that it was directed by Takashi Shimizu, though. At the same time, not, having seen the film, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can kind of see why. But obviously he was wooed to Hollywood for like a movie, on the basis of the Grudge, probably on the remake of the Grudge.
Yeah, I think he did. Did he do? He didn't. I don't think he did the third one. I think he did the first two.
Yeah,
and then kind of did a couple of things. But yeah, I don't know. I think what happened was they made it, and then there was a couple of air disasters,
right?
And so therefore it got shelved for that reason. Like, for example, Malaysia Airlines flight 370 was that was in 2014.
Yeah, that disappeared, didn't it? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think it was completed around, it was going to come out in 2014, and then I think it possibly ended up coming out actually in 2016 initially. I'm not 100% sure on these facts, but that's kind of what I've seen. I've read a couple of little bits about saying that this might be why, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. You take this, all the pieces are there.
Yeah.
For a film to at least get a cursory cinema release.
Yeah.
And if it bombs, then get a UK release. But this was like practically buried, and I think undeservedly so, because I still think there's a lot in there to recommend giving it an hour and 15 minutes or whatever of your time.
Yeah, I certainly enjoyed the twist. When it turned up, I thought that worked really well. So some nice details. There were some sort of clues earlier on. But it all comes to a head at the end, and I thought it was quite nice. What I didn't enjoy, as you pointed out, is the stupid final scene. It's like, obviously it's the Blumhouse thing again. Blumhouse have got this habit of ending their film with a jump scare. Even if the film's ended, even if it's been a happy ending or something, suddenly just before the credits, somebody goes, jump out at you, like Sinister and things like that. So it's something they do, and it's stupid. And this, that really did feel like a tacked on scene, where the sort of studios turn around and go, no, we've got to end on a jump. Got to end on a jump. So, get the one person back whose fate is uncertain, and let's finish her off. Basically, yeah. Silly. Didn't need it because the film had wrapped.
The film was over. It didn't really make any sense, did it?
The film was already over, and then it comes back and yeah, right, okay. Yeah, a bit of a damp squib ending in that regard. Yeah, so if they cut out the in media res at the beginning, and if they cut out the final scene, I'd be quite happy with this.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know. I mean, it probably will never happen, but I'm almost certain there must be a longer cut of this, that they trimmed it down for some reason, but there should be at least an hour and a half version. I would have thought. I mean, it just seems so rushed. But anyway, it was really nice to see it again. It turned up on. I just found it. It was funny because I'd been looking for it a few days earlier, and using like Just Watch, and it's not really listed. It's not listed on there, I don't think. But I just came across it on the Roku channel, but I believe it's I think it might be listed on Just Watch. I think it's on Apple TV, but it's definitely free to watch on the Roku channel. So if anybody's got access to that, it's definitely worth a punt.
Awesome. Cool. So we don't score the short. Sorry, do that again. So we don't score the DTV throwbacks, but we do recommend you check them out, and you'll find a link in the footnotes. And that is the end of this week's show. So thanks to Rich and Steve for joining me once more.
No problems.
And thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at the DTV Digest. Also check out our sister show, The Short Shots, where me and Rich take a focused look at some short films. So thank you for listening. Tune in next time.
Thank you for listening to the DTV Digest. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and tune in again next time.